welcome back to the Don and Gino Real Estate and Finance Show right here in your hometown station, AM 1220 KHTS.
And remember, our goal is always to guide you to personal and financial wellness.
Well, happy Saturday. If you're driving around going, who are these guys?
Well, they're probably saying, who are these clowns? But that's okay.
We've been called that. Or
worse.
Yeah. So you're here with Don Gatling and Gino Franti with Skyline Home Loans and the Don and Gino Real Estate and Finance Show for the last 7 years, guiding you to personal financial wellness every Saturday, 9 a.m. to 10 a.m. You can find out more by going to donandgino.com. And go to our YouTube channel. Literally over 2,000 YouTube videos. And also, you can go to the National Real Estate Cafe, where we give you a daily video blog of what's really happening in the real estate and financial world. And today, our college premier dude, I call you the dude, for the America's Professional Resource Group, aprgi.com, is Mr. Rob Schwartz, a premier college guide. We've dove into some really cool stuff, some scary stuff into some. We probably scared the hell out of some of you that have been listening for the last half hour going, oh my gosh, it's going to be challenging to get my kid into school. It's going to be expensive to get my kid into school. But you've done a really good job, Rob, of breaking down some stats for our listeners on what it takes to get into the schools. You know, you compared some private schools, some specific schools, some public schools. We touched a little bit on cost, so I want to go into a little bit of that. But Gino had a question. You have to repeat it, Gino.
Yeah, so the theory was, after listening to at least 10, 15, 20 brand name schools admitting 50% or less of its applicants, and, you know, at some fairly expensive cost, that means that demand outweighs supply, and we have an inventory shortage in schools in California. Or maybe there are some alternatives that are non-brand name schools that are a different opportunity. But as far as the things we all grew up with and the schools we want to go to, they're sold out. Unless you have a 3.7 plus GPA, unless you have a above average ACT score.
It has changed, because you gave a perfect example. It was not very difficult, and not that they weren't great schools, but there was capacity to go to San Diego State or Cal State Northridge, and now, no, it doesn't work that way.
And some of that's got to be the fact that, you know, when we grew up, I don't think you had to go to college to get a job. I think now almost anything you need to go to college to get a job. I mean, you look at anything kind of requires unless you're going to be an entrepreneur.
Unless you're in sales, yeah.
Unless you're going to be an entrepreneur or in sales, you require some sort of college degree. So the question is there a shortage of inventory?
So as the dude...
In California.
In California.
In California,
In
that's
California.
right.
As the dude, I am missing a white Russian. If I was to look inside the crystal ball, I would say Gino Franti is right.
He gets a star back.
You give him a star back.
Gino is right. For the most part.
Just a silver star.
Yeah.
There is a significant push for the off-the-chart student to look elsewhere for A, more affordable options, B, more accessible options. Schools like Arizona State, Northern Arizona, University of Nevada, Las Vegas.
120-degree average temperature.
It's not my favorite school either. University of Nevada, Reno, which I think rather highly of.
117.
No, not Reno.
I'm just kidding.
I got 4 seasons for crying out loud. University of Utah, University of New Mexico, anything public in Colorado except Boulder, not so friendly to Californians. Oregon and Oregon State, University of Washington. I mean, so these are schools that are getting a lot more activity from Californians than they ever have before. Now, some of those schools are playing smart, and they're incentivizing Californians with cash offers to bring the cost down below doing business in our state. So when families say, Rob, why should I apply outside of California? It costs too darn much. I got to pay that out-of-state tuition. Some of those schools I just listed, it will, I guarantee you, cost less than if you stayed in California.
See, that's what I love about you, Rob, and why we love having you on the show and why you're our dude, is because you bring up other options for people. You know, you enlighten us, because there's so much going, you know, you think traditional. Everybody's traditional. These schools, this costs, whatever. And before we close out, a perfect example is one of our friends that you helped out, and you even kept, you know, our friend's daughter in California with a completely different thought process because I know her name's Lauren. She's a phenomenal student. She's exceptional. She does extracurricular. She does all those things you're supposed to do to go to a great school. I also know the parents. When she completed her school, she wanted to go to a great school. She can go to a great school. The problem is that great school's expensive as heck. And I know the parents are going, oh my gosh, this is great. Now how do I pay for it? A lot of you out there right now are going, we run into that too. Yay, my student's a AAA student. Yay.
I talked about this. I hope my kids were bad at sports and my curse worked. They're horrible at sports, thank goodness. Because I look at traveling sports teams and I'm like, holy smokes, that's expensive.
And a lot of time.
Yeah.
So my point is that you enlightened our friends by guiding them, saying, hey, what does she want to accomplish? And, is it a challenge to pay this? Do you want her to just go to this, private school? Or do you want to look at other alternatives that are great schools? And we can compare a great school, which is Loyola, Marymount, versus Santa Clara.
And here's essentially what happened. We have a student who's done amazing things in high school. Very strong GPA, very strong test scores. And reached a couple of schools. It didn't happen where, schools like a Georgetown where they're admitting 10% of the students and you've got to be off the charts at everything. And it didn't happen. But we look at schools like Loyola Marymount, we look at schools like Santa Clara, which are the two strongest Jesuit schools in the state of California. Great educational opportunities, beautiful campuses. You talk about being on the west side, opportunities for students at Loyola. I mean,
Right
they
the
go on and on and
Right.
on and on. Santa Clara is in the heart of Silicon Valley. You want to work on anything that's involving a computer.
That's where you go.
That's where 70% of the technology on Earth is founded in the modern era. And your school is in that 12 by 12 mile square.
Think they know it?
I think they do. So if you look at the admission percentages, they're about the same. About 50% get in, about 50% don't. GPAs, they're going to be fairly similar. Test scores, Santa Clara is a little stronger. Both of them are also similar in terms of sticker price, about $65,000 to $66,000 for 1 year of attendance.
Oh, wow.
Which is an incredible amount of money. Well, the question we haven't looked at is what is the ability of that college or university to aid that family? In effect, how deep are their pockets and how generous are they? Loyola Marymount, I'm sad to say, not terribly generous, and they do not have deep pockets. On average, they meet 65% of a family's demonstrated financial need, which basically says you filled out the financial aid form. The government's formula says you need to pay $10,000. Okay, your need is the difference between the sticker price and what you're expected to pay. Well, at Loyola, if you were expected to pay 10 and it's 65,000, your need is $55,000. And I just told you they can meet 2/3 of it. Well, what happens to the other third? That's your problem. So this particular family filled out the forms, and they're a low middle income family. What happened? Loyola wants $27,000 for the first year of education. The family can't meet it. And understand, Lauren, she wants to go. She wants to go. She wants to attend that school.
She's
it's a great school.
qualified,
She's
everything.
qualified. She's in. But the dollars and the cents just don't add up. I suggested let's look at Santa Clara. It's got everything that you're looking for, and they have the ability to meet a greater percentage of your family's need. As a matter of fact, it's about 84%. Well, there's also some wiggle room in terms of how strong does that school see this candidate and how much do they want to really help. Well, they wanted to help Lauren at Santa Clara. So their offer was no out-of-pocket cost to the family and just take a student loan for the required amount, which essentially is $5,500 for a freshman year.
Let me think. 28,000, 5,500. That's a life changer.
Now, wait a second. That's $5,500 including housing.
Including housing.
That sounds like a deal.
Right, especially when the $5,500 comes from Uncle Sam and you don't have to pay it back until 6 months after you graduate.
Pretty cool.
Better than pretty cool.
Yeah.
Well, and then, and then the
Life-changing.
student is also, skin in the game.
That's right. That's right.
I love it. I love it. I mean, and that's why, again, we always have you on and, how you can enlighten people. A lot of times, it's stressful. I can't think of anything more stressful when you consider how am I going to get my child into the school of their dreams, or how I'm going to pay for it. And when you give them other options, that they are going to be happy as can be, because I have another example when we come back. We're going to go into some more examples of how you're helping families and helping enlighten those on college planning options, as well as a great event that we're working on putting together to help enlighten more families. When we come back to the Don and Gino Real Estate and Finance Show, don't miss the closing segment. It's good stuff.